The super's keyring jangled against his hip as he climbed to the third floor. Carlos had worked at 1847 Ashmont Street for 16 years, and he could read a building the way fishermen read the sea. A creak in the pipes meant trouble 2 days out. A certain smell in the stairwell meant Mrs. Chen on 2A was cooking fish again, which meant the vents needed cleaning. But Unit 3B, that apartment had never given him a moment's concern. Thomas Wren. Paid rent on the first of every month, automatic transfer, never late. Utilities steady, not too high, not suspiciously low. Trash out every Thursday in regulation bags, neatly tied. In 16 years, Carlos had learned that the best tenants were the invisible ones. Still, the tenant in 3C had called about water damage on her ceiling, and the leak was definitely coming from 3B. Carlos had left 2 notices on the door over the past week. No response. He tried knocking. Nothing. He knocked again now, 3 sharp raps. Maintenance, got a leak to check, Mr. Wren. Silence. Carlos checked his phone. Wren's emergency contact form listed no relatives, no friends. Just the standard. If unable to reach tenant, building management may enter. He unlocked the door. The smell hit him first. Not rot, but something chemical. Bleach, maybe ammonia, underlaid with floral air freshener. The apartment was dark except for filtered daylight through half-closed blinds. Mr. Wren, maintenance, you home? Carlos stepped inside. The apartment was immaculate, no dishes in the sink, vacuum lines still visible in the beige carpet. He moved past a small living room with a single chair, no television, just a bookshelf with perfectly aligned spines. The kitchen was tiny, and there, at a small round table, sat Thomas Wren. He was facing away from the door, hands folded on the table in front of him, wearing a cardigan despite the warm apartment. His posture was perfect. Mr. Wren, sorry to barge in, but you've got... Carlos stopped mid-sentence. Something was wrong with the way the man sat. Too still, too perfectly composed. He walked around the table to face the tenant. Thomas Wren's eyes were clouded, sunken. His skin had the gray-yellow pallor of old wax. His mouth was slightly open, lips dried and cracked. But his hair was neatly combed. His cardigan was clean, recently laundered. His fingernails were trimmed. Carlos stumbled backward, phone already in his hand, fingers shaking as he dialed 911. Sarah Moss had seen plenty of dead bodies in her 12 years on the force, but this one lodged itself under her skin like a splinter. The medical examiner estimated Wren had been dead approximately 8 months. Heart attack, most likely. Quick. He'd probably slumped forward, then been repositioned in the chair after death. But that was where the normal ended. The apartment had been maintained, not just kept clean, curated. Crime scene techs found evidence of regular vacuuming, dusting, surface cleaning with hospital-grade disinfectant. The refrigerator contained fresh food with current expiration dates. The trash had been taken out the morning they found the body. Wren's hair had been trimmed at least 4 times post-mortem. His fingernails, too. Someone had been grooming a corpse. No forced entry, Officer Martinez said, reviewing the door's electronic lock records. Only 2 keys exist, Wren's, which we found in his pocket, and the master, which the super says never left his key ring. What about the windows? 3rd floor, no fire escape. You'd need climbing gear, and the window locks are all engaged from the inside. Sarah studied the apartment. Everything was positioned with museum-like precision. books arranged by height, kitchen utensils in perfect parallel. Even the chair Wren sat in was exactly centered on the floor tile pattern. "Who reported him missing?" she asked. Martinez checked his notes. "No one. That's the thing. Guy had no family, no emergency contacts besides the building. His job said he worked from home, submitted his work remotely. They just thought he was keeping to himself. For 8 months. His work was still getting done. Reports filed, emails sent." Sarah felt cold prickle up her arms. "Show me his computer." The laptop sat on a small desk in the corner, closed, charging cable neatly wound. Sarah opened it. No password. The screen came to life, showing an inbox. The most recent email had been sent yesterday. "Thank you for your patience. Project files attached. Best regards, Thomas Wren." "Jesus Christ," Martinez whispered. Sarah scrolled through the sent folder. Months of emails, all professional, polite, brief. She opened the attached documents. The work was competent, thorough. Nothing suggested the person writing was living with a corpse, or was a corpse. "Pull surveillance from the building," Sarah ordered. "I want to see everyone who entered and exited this floor for the past 8 months." They set up a review station in the building's management office. The superintendent, Carlos, had reluctantly provided access to the security system. The building had cameras at the front entrance, the lobby, and each floor's main hallway. Unit 3B's door was clearly visible. Sarah fast-forwarded through months of footage, watching time compress into a blur of light and shadow. She focused on Thursday mornings, trash day. There, a figure emerged from Unit 3B at 6:47 a.m., carrying a black trash bag. The person wore a hoodie, head down, moving with quick efficiency. Down the hall, down the stairs, out of frame. "Can you clean up the image?" Sarah asked the tech. The image sharpened, but not enough. The figure's face remained hidden. Average height, average build. Could be anyone. "Every Thursday?" Martinez asked. "Every single Thursday for 8 months." They watched more footage. The figure never deviated, never looked at the camera, never hesitated. In and out in under 4 minutes. "Wait," Sarah said. "Go back to last Tuesday, middle of the day." The tech rewound. At 2:37 p.m., the figure emerged again, this time carrying what looked like a small shopping bag, the same hoodie, the same lowered head. "Groceries," Martinez said. Sarah leaned closer. Something bothered her about the footage, something beyond the obvious horror of what they were seeing. She watched the figure's gait, the way they moved. "Pull up the older footage. Go back to when Wren was still alive." Carlos provided the dates. The tech jumped back 10 months. There, Thomas Wren himself, leaving the apartment, returning with groceries. Same coat Wren had been wearing when they found him. Same shopping bag. Sarah watched the living Thomas Wren's walk, his posture, his rhythm. Then she compared it to the hooded figure. They moved the same way. "That's not possible," Martinez said, but Sarah saw it clearly now. The slight favor of the left leg, the way the right shoulder dipped, the precise, almost mechanical efficiency of movement. The hooded figure wasn't just caring for Thomas Wren's body, they were becoming Thomas Wren. Sarah returned to Unit 3B alone after midnight. She'd gotten approval to stake out the apartment, to wait and see if the figure returned. Martinez thought she was crazy. The brass thought she was wasting resources on what was clearly just a squatter, probably gone for good now that the body had been discovered. But Sarah knew better. Whoever had lived here for 8 months hadn't left. Not really. She sat in the dark living room in the single chair facing the door. The same chair the hooded figure must have sat in, watching their silent companion at the kitchen table. The apartment was still pristine. Crime scene had processed and left, but everything remained in place. The books, the kitchen utensils, the precisely folded towels in the bathroom. At 3:17 a.m., she heard it. A key in the lock. Sarah's hand moved to her weapon as the door opened silently, well-oiled hinges making no sound. The hooded figure stepped inside, closed the door, and locked it from the inside with practiced ease. They moved to the kitchen table, sat down in the chair where Wren's body had been, folded their hands in exactly the same position, and sat perfectly still. "Police, put your hands up." The figure didn't move, didn't acknowledge her at all. Sarah approached slowly, weapon raised. "I said hands up, now!" Nothing. She reached out and grabbed the hood, yanking it back. The face beneath was covered by a mask, a cheap Halloween mask of a generic human face, flesh-colored plastic with blank eyes and a neutral expression, the kind you'd find at a dollar store. "Take off the mask." The figure's hands moved to comply, slow and mechanical. The mask came away. Sarah felt her breath catch. It was Thomas Wren's face. Not similar, not familial. His face. The same gray-yellow pallor she'd seen on the corpse, the same sunken eyes. But the eyes blinked. The chest rose and fell with breath. "Who are you?" Sarah demanded. "Thomas Wren," the figure said in a flat, dead voice. "Thomas Wren is dead. Thomas Wren pays his rent on time. Thomas Wren takes the trash out every Thursday. Thomas Wren maintains routine." Sarah's skin crawled. "What's your real name?" The figure tilted its head, and something in the movement was wrong, inverted, like watching a recording played backward. "Names don't matter. Only routine matters. Only maintenance." "Did you know him? Were you—" "I came to visit. The door was unlocked." The figure's voice never changed pitch or tone. "He was at the table, very still, very quiet. The apartment was getting dirty, disorder spreading. It needed someone to maintain it, someone to continue the routine. So you just stayed." Someone had to. The rent had to be paid. The trash had to go out. The work had to be finished. The figure looked around the apartment with something that might have been satisfaction. Everything has its place. Everything has its pattern. Disruption is death. Routine is life. Sarah tried a different approach. "What's your relationship to Thomas Wren?" "I am the tenant of Unit 3B. Before you came here." "Who were you?" The figure was silent for a long moment. Then, "I don't remember. It's been 8 months. The routine is all that matters now." Ice flooded Sarah's veins. "Show me your face, your real face." The figure raised its hands and began pulling at the skin of its cheeks. For a horrible moment, Sarah thought it was going to peel off its face entirely. But instead, the figure simply touched its features, exploring them like they were unfamiliar. "This is my face now," it said. "I trimmed the hair, I cut the nails, I wore the clothes, I learned the walk. I became what was needed." "That's not how it works. You can't just—" "Can't I?" The figure stood, and Sarah instinctively stepped back. It moved to the bookshelf, adjusted a book that had been knocked a millimeter out of alignment. "For 8 months, I maintained perfect order. For 8 months, I kept him company. For 8 months, no one knew the difference. So tell me, detective, what's the difference between being Thomas Wren and becoming him?" Sarah's hand trembled on her weapon. "You need psychological help. I need to take out the trash on Thursday. It's Thursday tomorrow, isn't it?" The figure checked Wren's watch on its wrist. "Yes, Thursday, 6:47 a.m. I should sleep soon to maintain the schedule." "You're coming with me. You're under arrest for—" "For what? Living in my own apartment? Paying my rent? Being a good tenant?" The figure sat back down at the kitchen table, hands folded. "Mr. Ruiz, the superintendent, He always said the best tenants are the invisible ones. Sarah radioed for backup, watching the figure the entire time. It didn't try to run, didn't resist, just sat there perfectly still, hands folded, becoming less and less distinguishable from the corpse that had occupied that chair for 8 months. When Martinez arrived with 2 uniforms, they found Sarah standing in the kitchen doorway, her face pale. "We need to check the mask," she said, "and run prints, and DNA, and..." But when they tried to fingerprint the figure, something was wrong. The prints were smooth, worn down, barely readable, like the person had spent months scrubbing with industrial cleaner. "They're degraded," the tech said. "I've never seen anything like this. It's like they've been erased."